Hi everyone, it's Stacey again here with another craft project to share with you guys. Thanks so much for all of the positive comments and reaction to the lantern decals, and today I'm going to bring you another project also using decals, but just in a little bit of a different way. So a little while ago Arlen was here and she caught sight of something that I had made, and she said, you know, I would love to have one of those for myself, so you are going to come along with me while we make this for Arlen. So what it is a floating frame with sheet music that I have aged, which, by the way, I'm going to show you a few little options you can do. You don't have to age your paper at all. I just like the look of it. But I'm gonna show you a few little tips or tricks on how to age plain white paper. This is actually on some scrapbook paper, but I'll give you all those options later in the video. But what I've done is I have printed out sheet music to one of our favorite hymns, the Old Rugged Cross, and then sandwiched it between the two panes of glass in the floating frame, and then applied just basically the chorus in vinyl on top. So I'm going to show you how to make this for yourselves. I'm going to be offering the vinyl, of course, to be sent out to you and to do an overlay on the sheet music. I am also going to be offering other vinyl for other hymns if that is something that you would prefer. So stay tuned and we will get to all the particulars on how to put this little project together for yourselves. Okay, so you're ready to get started. So let's talk about what you need to complete this project. First things first is you're going to need your frame. You're going to need a floating frame. And what that is just two panes of glass sandwiched in between the frame, and then it gives you a border that's clear that goes through and shows the wall color behind the actual art itself. So this actually serves a different purpose too, that I'm going to show you a little trick that you can actually do two-sided picture frame, so you get a little more bang for your buck. So you're going to need a float frame. Yeah, this is called a floating frame, and I found this one at Michael's. I prefer the glass, but if you can find one with acrylic, that works just as well, because the vinyl loves to stick to anything super smooth. So vinyl, glass, either frame that you can find will work great. Now, I know Arlen is going to have a link on her Amazon storefront. If you aren't really comfortable going out and trying to look for these yourself, she's got a little link for you so you can grab a frame off of there. So first thing you're going to need is to find your frame. Then you're going to need to decide which hymn that you want to use. So I have a couple that are linked here on Arlen's video, or well, I guess it's my video. But we've got Great is Thy Faithfulness, the Old Rugged Cross, Amazing Grace, and what is the last? Oh, How Great Thou Art, because some of the vinyl decals from the lantern video will also work being resized for this purpose as well. And that also goes for these. The hymn vinyls can also be resized if you wanted to use them as well on a lantern. So it's a little twofer. You can choose which project you wanted to use these decals for. So you're going to need a frame. You're going to need to pick the hymn that you want. And what you're going to put that hymn on, meaning the paper. So I'm going to show you in a minute on how to age paper by starting with just plain, what is this, 8.5 by 11, just printer paper, starting with white printer paper. And we're gonna age this and get to something that kind of looks more like this. And if you can, maybe you can read through that I used soy sauce for one, I used coffee for another. So I'm gonna show you that you can use things that you probably already have around the house to make more of a vintage, aged looking hymn sheet right in your own house. So yes, it started like this and it ended up like this. But again, I'm gonna show you how to do that. Also what you can do, and this is typically what I do, I think it's, I don't know, I just like the look of it, is just using some scrapbook paper. I got this from Michael's as well. It is 12 by 12 Recollections brand in antique gold. And I think I can get a good shot of, hello? Okay, take my word for it. My camera doesn't, or my phone doesn't seem to want to zoom in real great on that. But anyway, it's Recollections brand. I think they were maybe 80 cents a sheet. And I just trimmed it down. I just trimmed it down to 8.5 by 11 to fit through my printer. So I have I think it's an inkjet printer. So I'm going to advise you to age your paper first before putting it through your printer. If you try to do it the other way, especially if you have a printer like mine, the moisture, the wet, obviously is gonna make that ink bleed, and that's not the look that we're going for. So anyway, so you need your frame, you need to pick your hem, you need to figure out what paper you want to put that hem on, and then the last thing you're going to need is your vinyl overlay for the topper. So let's get to moving forward on this project, and I am going to show you how to age some. Okay, so here we are back to age our plain paper, and this is just plain old white printer paper that you've got laying around, hopefully. And in this little ramekin, I have super, super, super strong coffee. Now, I don't have a coffee maker. I have my beloved Keurig machine. So all I did was put a K-cup pod in, and I set it to the strongest setting and the smallest setting that I possibly could to get the darkest, most concentrated amount of coffee. And as you can see, it's just a tiny amount, and that's all you need. You're just going to lay a layer of this onto your paper. So this is super strong coffee. If you're not a coffee drinker, you can absolutely use a super, super strong steeped tea or tea bag. And that is going to give it just a little bit lighter coloring than coffee, but it would still work great if you wanted to go for that. Now, in this ramekin or little dish here, I have just plain old soy sauce. I'm gonna try to keep from dipping my finger in that. I absolutely love soy sauce. So anyway, so either super, super concentrated coffee, super, super concentrated tea, or soy sauce. So I'm just gonna take a paper towel, nothing major, and we're gonna dip in to our coffee and just drip all over. I like to do this, and then we're just going to, look at that. Is this the most complicated thing you've ever seen in your life? There is absolutely zero skill involved. You just slap the oh, gross hair. You know, that is the story of my life. If it's not dog hair, it's my hair. Anyway, so you're just gonna slap this coffee on here, wring it out, and don't worry about wrinkles, or don't worry about your edges or anything like that, because you're trying to make it look old, aged, like you found it at a flea market somewhere. And there you go. Why is this hair haunting me? Anyway, you know what? I'm gonna put it back on my head. Here we go. So this is your coffee soaked paper. That's it. And over here, I have prepared a baking sheet, and I just lined it. You don't have to do this, but I lined mine with a little bit of tinfoil because my baking sheet is textured, and I don't want that texture to come, I don't want that texture to shine through on my paper. So if you have a flat baking sheet, you don't need to worry about that. But anyway, so I've got my prepared baking sheet. So I'm gonna lay my coffee soaked or coffee treated paper right on there. And then I'm gonna take another paper towel. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have to, but I'm gonna take another paper towel, and then I'm gonna get into this soy sauce. Now, I have found that soy sauce gives you just a tiny little bit of a darker aging on the paper. And look at that, that's interesting. I don't know what that, do you see that? Look at that line straight through there. I have no idea what that is. That looks to be a paper defect. Yeah, that's a paper defect. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a fresh piece of paper. Okay, and we're just gonna wring out our soy on here. It looks like all this paper has that a little bit in there, but okay, that's okay, because I'm just showing you the process. So we're just going to do the same process with the soy as we did with the coffee. And we're gonna go through and we're just gonna saturate and wipe this soy on both sides. Look at that. Wonder what that is. Anyway, hopefully you will not have that strange line down the center of your paper. But anyway, if you do, just pick a new sheet. And like I said, so this is the soy. Now, here's what I have done before. If you like the look of water spots or things like that, then you can just take a little more and just drop little drops here and there. And then just lay it on your sheet just like that. And then you can leave that. Now, this is where your creativity and your eye and what you want comes into play. So age as much or as little as you like. And now what we're gonna do is we are gonna pop these into your lowest setting on your oven. Mine is 170 for about 10 minutes just to dry. You don't have to do that if you're not comfortable with that. You can leave them dry overnight. You can hit them with a blow dryer, but I have found the quickest and easiest way to get these to dry quickly is just to pop them in a low oven for about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna do that, and then I will be right back and show you how these turned out. All right, my paper has been popped in the oven. It is completely dry now and is ready for me to print my hem on. So this is the coffee stained paper. I don't know. Wait, there, let's try it this way. Coffee stained paper. This is the soy stained paper, and you can see those like watermarks or stain spots or whatever. And here's the difference between the two. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but the soy sauce is just slightly darker than the coffee or the tea is going to create for you. But these are just options if you didn't want to go buy paper, if you wanted to try to make it at home with things you already had. These are your two paper choices. But for me, what I used is the scrapbook paper. So I cut that down to size and I printed Old Red Cross. I just ran it straight through my printer, and this is how it turned out on the soy paper. Let's see if you can see. That's how that turned out on that. And this is how it turned out on the coffee paper. I'm not sure what that, oh, that's from the marker that I used. But you can see that they all give basically the same kind of look. It's just really all about how much effort and time and money you wanted to put into it. So these are your homemade options. This is your Michael made option or Recollections made option. And this is what I used for Arlen, because what I decided to do was to make her him art two-sided. So on the one side, we'll have Old Rugged Cross. On the other side, we'll have Great is Thy Faithfulness. So what I also did on my artwork that earlier that I showed you is I did the edges. So I'm going to show you if you use scrapbook paper to age your edges, because when you go and you rip the sides or the edges of the paper, the white core is going to show through, and you're going to need to age that. So all you're going to do is just tear the edges. It's really not hard. Do not, most of my projects, well, maybe the next one might be a little more complicated, but most of my projects are really no-brainers because, hello, no-brainer. So we're going to just tear our edges just to give it a little more personality, make it look more aged. So all we're gonna do, we're just going to rip our edges just back and forth, and it doesn't have to be anything serious. So just so that you get this type of edge all the way around. And then what you'll do is the same kind of process that I showed you in aging the white paper. You're just gonna take a little bit of paper towel, cotton ball, whatever, dip it into your coffee, tea, soy sauce, whatever you're using, and just do the white that's shining through. Because again, if you've printed like me with an inkjet, if anything wet gets on this ink, it might bleed a little bit. So just be careful doing your edges. And go all the way around, give that super cool looking jagged edge, age it, and then you'll be ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and do all my edges. I'm going to do the aging on the edges, and then I'll be right back with our next step. So I've decided that I am going to show you how I age the edges on this paper. So as you can see, I've torn all the edges of the paper and have begun the aging of the edges, just so that the white, I'm not sure if you can, okay, see like right here, how it's very white? Well, that's a dead giveaway that this is not an old piece of paper. So all I did is I had some of that soy sauce left over, so I used that, and I took my paper towel and I dipped into the soy sauce, not super, super wet, just enough, just dampen it, okay? And then what I did is in between my two fingers, I made like a little C, and then I just put the edge of my paper in there, like this, kind of like you're stapling, and then I just kind of gave it a little squeeze all the way down the edge. So you can see that I got both sides of the paper in one go. So just go and do the edges, and just go down all four sides of your paper that you've ripped, and then just go back over and look and make sure that you haven't missed any areas where maybe you want, or maybe you missed a little torn edge and you need to give it another little squeeze of soy sauce so that it looks a little older. And then all I did was I just took the dry part of my paper towel and just carefully brushed off the excess, because again, you do not want to hit with anything wet your printing, because that'll smudge. So you just do that, and then once you've done your edges and you've gotten them ready, then all you need to do is just set this aside. I don't think it's necessary to put this in the oven to dry. It's such a minimal amount that has been aged that I would just leave this dry. Actually, I literally just did this a minute before and it's already dry. So just give this a couple of minutes to dry, maybe get your frame. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you what size frame you'll need. So this says it's an 8 by 10, but basically it's an 11 by 14 size frame that fits an 8 by 10 sheet of paper. So 11 by 14 is the size float frame that you're looking to get. So again, what we're gonna do, we're just gonna let our aging paper dry, and when it's completely dry, then I will show you how to put everything together to make your completed project. So our hem sheet has finished drying and this little project is ready to be put together. So the first thing we're gonna do is we are going to take apart our float frame. So if you're not familiar with a float frame, all that is 2 panes of glass. It does not have a back. What it does have is when you open up all these little holders or little flanges, I'm not even sure what, I don't even know what they're called. Anyway, when you open those all around, it releases this little wood square. Now be very careful. These are super fragile. I don't know why they couldn't have figured out a stronger way to put these together, but anyway, so just be careful with this, but this comes out. And then what you're gonna do, also very carefully, is remove the glass. Well, just one of the 2 panes. So if you can see, there are 2, oh, they're really stuck together, there we go. There are 2 panes of glass. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna sandwich our hem, our music sheet, in between these 2 panes of glass. So I'm just gonna take out this back pane here. And so now we just have 1 pane of glass in, and then we're gonna lay, so here's my holder, so then we're just gonna lay in our sheet. We're just gonna sandwich it in, and again, I'm just kind of eyeballing it as centered as it can be. That's the beauty of doing a rough edge like this, is this not gonna be perfectly square or a perfect, you know, edging all the way around. Just get it as close as that it looks pleasing to your eye. So we're gonna put that in the center, and that looks good. And then you're gonna put your other pane of glass on top, and we're just gonna sandwich that in there. And then it ends up, now at this stage, instead of putting it all together, you can just hold it up, kind of eyeball it. I think that looks great to me. So I'm gonna assemble my frame. So I'm gonna put my little wood square in the back. I'm gonna close up all these little flanges or holders or frame, I don't even know what they're called, paddles, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna put those all back together, and that's gonna hold everything in place. Oops, almost missed one. There's one on the bottom. And then now you have this, and this is awesome. If you want to stop here, that's great. I would be perfectly happy with maybe like 4 of these in a music room or in a sitting room somewhere, to make a little gallery of my favorite hymns, my favorite sheet music. But what we're going to do today is make this into a 2-sided piece of art with vinyl overlay. So on this side, the old rugged cross, we're gonna put, I will cling to the old rugged cross, but you can kind of get an idea by flipping it over that I have made this 2-sided by simply printing another hymn on the back side. So I actually get 2 pieces of art for 1. And so this one is Great is Thy Faithfulness, and this is the overlay that we're gonna put on this side. And then it's just a simple matter of when I want to switch the art, just disassemble, flip the glass around, put it all back together. And I've got two pieces of art, and it's not taking up any more space. So I love Great is Thy Faithfulness. and the Old Rugged Cross. Arlen and I were very, very blessed to grow up in a musical family, and not just our own dads and our own immediate family, but our extended family, all of them very, very musical. Most can play instruments. All of us sing, and it was always just such a joyous time when the family, our daddy's families, would get together, and inevitably would always end up with the entire family singing every hymn that we could remember, just every time we got together. It was just such a awesome time of just fellowship and worship, and just as a family having those memories is just so, so precious to me. And every time I look at this, and I hope every time Arlen looks at it, she can just remember those times of us getting together. But that wasn't what I meant to say. That it just came out of nowhere, but true, it's all true. But what I was going to say about Old Rugged Cross is I think it would be a perfect hymn for Easter decorations, for spring decorations, and then maybe if you wanted to switch it up with something maybe more, I don't want to say neutral, but more neutral, then you could switch it and have a different option for yourself. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead forward with this Old Rugged Cross for Arlen, and I do see now, I mean, I guess that's straight. We might need to fiddle with that a little bit, but I'm also going to, I'm not going to worry too much, because I do want to show you some of the other options. I went ahead and printed that hymn on a plain sheet of white printer paper, and then I also printed it on the piece of paper that we aged, but I did not age the edges. So it can just give you a little better idea of what maybe you wanted to choose for yours. So the one that So the one that I'm doing right now for Arlen is the scrapbook paper with the torn and aged edges. So once you get it to this point, once you get your hem sheet sandwiched in between the two panes of glass, the same instructions apply as last time for applying your vinyl. So we're just going to take a little bit of just plain old rubbing alcohol, and we're going to prepare our glass to receive the vinyl. And it's not too, you don't have to be too super perfect about it, but just get any fingerprints or what, because you will probably take this apart a few times to make it centered or to make it look more pleasing to the eye, get you a more even border. But like I said, I'm not going to do that super tight right now because I'm going to be switching it out, but the dimensions are basically the same. So we have our glass is ready, and then now here's what I've done on this vinyl. I know some of you are a little more particular about wanting things to be exactly centered. So what I did is, if you can see in between the T and the O is an itty bitty tiny little circle, and that is the center of this decal. So whenever you get your vinyl sheet wherever you want it, and you measure and say, this is my center, then you just put that little dot, you can line that little dot right up where your center on your hem is, and that just makes it a little easier. Now when I do the other side, I'll show you. Unfortunately on this one, the center of this vinyl is smack in the middle of this U, so I was unable to put a little dot to demark the center of this vinyl, but I will show you the trick that I use when I do want it to be right in the center. But for right now, we're gonna go with this. We're gonna do this one. And like I said, we've already prepared our glass with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and we're just going to pull we're just gonna pull our backing paper off of our transfer sheet. Please hold, my crafting partner is crying to be let out of the back, so we're gonna take a quick potty break. All right, so we have peeled our backing paper off. We've got our transfer sheet. We're ready to go. I see my little circle there. Now what you'll do is once this is applied, you'll just pick that little circle out. But anyway, so I know the center of the old rugger cross is somewhere above the slain, maybe that little note above the word slain. And we're just going to, you know what? I'm gonna stand up, and that gets me a little bit of a better view, and we are going to pop our vinyl right down in the center, and we're gonna give it a little rub. And where's my little scraper? Well, you know what? Not everybody's gonna have a scraper, and for whatever reason I can't find mine. So anyway, it's probably right in front of my face, but I'll just use my finger, give it a little rub, and let's peel our transfer sheet off. And again, if you have prepared your paper, if you've prepared your glass with a little rubbing alcohol, this should really stick well. And let me get my little picker. Now, what you can do is just take a little nail, a little needle, or even your fingernail to get this little circle right here, and we're just gonna pick that off because we don't want that. We'll just pick that right off of there. Da-da-da-da, it's gone. And our finished project looks like this. I love this so much. I wish I could take credit for creating the idea for this. I did not. I did, however, create and design the decal itself. But this, again, this is the edged scrapbook paper. Sorry, my brain went on pause there for a minute. But let me take this apart, and I'll put the other two types of paper in, and then you can get a better idea of maybe what you wanted to go for. So let's go ahead and dismantle this. We're gonna take this apart. Take our little square out. Watch that glass, ladies, those edges. Okay, now we're gonna put in the aged paper with this straight edge, so you get an idea of how that looks. And again, I like this too. Oh, so that's what it looks like with a straight edge, aged. And then let's just put in, now best case scenario would be if you actually had an old hymn book or an old sheet music. That would be awesome, but I have not been so lucky as to find anything like that in my life. So this is approximately what the white, oh no, I like that too. Oh, I've never seen these other options, y'all. This is the first time I've put any other options together. I've always just used the scrapbook paper, but I thought maybe, you wouldn't want to run out and go get something like that, and that we could just age paper at home, because I've done that before 1,000 times. But I love the white paper too. So I think it's pretty clear that whatever option you choose is going to look amazing. So it's just all about what's going to fit best into your decor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put the two-sided scrapbook paper that I made for our Lynn back in here, get it all centered up good. And then I am going to go ahead and do the vinyl overlay for the other side as well, which is the great is thy faithfulness. So I'm gonna put that all together, put everything, get it all assembled and put it back together, and then I will show you what that one looks like. To do, or I'm ready to do the back side of this two-sided piece of art. Now, obviously, if you're only going to do one side, you don't need to worry about it. But here's the thing. If you pick Great is Thy Faithfulness or one of the other decals that does not have the little dot center, I'm going to show you what I do to find the center of my decals. And so once you peel your decal from the backing paper and you're left with it on the transfer sheet, obviously you've got your sticky side, you've got your non-sticky side. So what I do to find my center is I just fold it non-sticky side back to back like this. And I just line up the image, okay? And then just give it a little pinch, boop, right in the center, okay? Then I'm going to fold it the other way, non-sticky to non-sticky, like this. And I'm gonna line up the decals, and you can see that when you get them right on top of each other, they line up perfectly, okay? And then where that fold is, give it a little pinch. And then when you open it back up, you'll have a little, let's see, you'll have a little crease. There, you could kind of see it right there where the U is. You'll see a little crease where your center is. And you can do that with any decal to kind of help you find the center and give you more of a landing mark on where to line things up. So as I said before, I knew the center of this decal was on the U, and this just proves it, that when you do the little bendy trick, it will show you your center. So I am getting ready to apply this to Great is Thy Faithfulness, and I kind of did a quick tape measure, found the center, and now, of course, I've completely forgotten where that is. So let me show you my process here. So obviously, since this this sheet music that I did has those rough edges, it's not perfectly square. So what I do is when I have edges like that is I measure the actual music itself, the bars. So this measures about we'll call it maybe a little more than 6 1/4, and I start up here at the wording and go down here to the bottom of that bar. That's about, I forgot these little demarcations, and so that's 10, so 5 puts me here at as thou hast been, thou forever wilt be, that bar of music, and about 3 and a little bit. So somewhere right here above the notes above, I don't want this to come apart. Hold on. Please hold. There we go. So for me, it's somewhere, there we go. That might be better. Somewhere, good. Hold on, let me turn that light off. There we go. There we go. So somewhere in here is my center. Right there. So that's where I'm going to put the center of this decal. We are going to put it where that little U is, and we're gonna put it right here. Make sure I'm at least straight. On each of the decals, I do my very best to when I put the transfer tape on top, you can see it has the grid lines. I try to at least have grid lines on one row of wording so that you can get it straight this way and this way. So we've done that. So let's just give this a little press down, and we will peel this back. Oh my gracious. Technical difficulties, but it's fine, it's fine, it's all fine. Okay, pull this off, and there we go. And there is the great is thy faithfulness. Uh-oh, got a little wobbly here. Like that. Now, obviously, this is the back side, and if you wanted to display this, you would need to flip both pieces of glass, and flip that around completely. So this would be one side. Here's the other side. So that is how I make a two-sided hem sheet with decal overlay. So if you would like to do this for yourself, like I mentioned earlier, feel free. You can either locate your own floating frame, or you can hit Arlen's little Amazon storefront. There are going to be several options for the hem sheets to download or to print off for yourself. The good thing with these hems is that prior to, I don't know the date, but any music published prior to a particular date then becomes public domain. So these are all free. If you find a better version, or you have sheet music yourself that you want to use, that's fantastic. But I've just, somewhere, probably in the description box or somewhere, Arlen will help me out, and we'll link those for you to download, so you don't have to go hunting for those. And then again, with the vinyl, it's the same process. Just go ahead and shoot me an email at porchswingcraftables with an S at gmail.com. I'm sure all of this will be linked below too, and I'll put a little pricing sheet together and such for that as well. And again, just keep in mind, if you wanted any of these decals resized to kind of go back and forth between either a lantern application or this hem wall art application, just demark that in your email as well, and that is an easy thing to do. Easy thing for me to adjust for you. So whatever works for you is going to work for me. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I absolutely love making these things. There's such a wow factor, and I know Arlen is going to love receiving this as well. So I hope she has a little video of her opening this. So by the time y'all get to see this video, she will have already received her plaque here, her two-sided work of art. And I hope you guys give this a go for yourself. I know you can do it. You're very crafty, and I know you're going to. I know you're going to do it. I know it's going to be awesome, and you're going to love it. So thanks again for spending some time with me. And I know you watch for Arlen, but I appreciate you giving me a little time to share some fun projects with you too. So I will leave you at that. Look forward to hearing from you. And until next time, y'all take good care. And now here's the footage you all tune in for, my crafting buddy. Hump, Pipe, did you help me make Arlen's present? Did you? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Say bye. Bye, everybody.
everyone, Arlene here. I'm just coming back to say just a few words. I'm not going to extend the video for a long time, I promise. But isn't Stacey the best? She's the best of the best. I just adore her. I just love her so much, you guys, I'm telling you. When she was telling the story about our family, forget about it. I just went to a puddle of nothing tears because that is so true. Every word of it is so true. I'm telling you. We are so blessed. She and I are so blessed to be in our family. I'm telling you. Anyway, oh my goodness, how about this offer that she's created? Is it not gorgeous? But with her creativity, I have had to become a little creative myself in a way in which that I can offer you those hymns. There are two ways. The first way is the way I'm going to please encourage you to try to do it first. I have written a blog to go hand in hand with this video. There will be a link in the description. The very first link you see will be a description for my Amazon storefront, which is where you can find the frame. It's in an idea list all by itself. It's the only thing in the box, so you can't miss it. And as Stacey says, she is offering only the certain size decals to fit on like the 8.5 by 11 inch paper, this size paper, you know, to go in the 11 by 14 frame. That is the best. She said that's the best. It looks the best when we do it that way. So that's what she's offering, are the decals to go in that frame. So I'm only offering the one frame. If you want to go into Michael's, of course, as she said, or Hobby Lobby or somewhere else and find your own floating frame, that's perfectly fine. But she recommends an 11 by 14 frame for sure. Anyway, I just wanted to reiterate that frame can be found in my Amazon shop very easily. And then right after that, my Amazon shop link in my description box will be a link to the blog that I have written to go hand in hand with this video. And in that blog, you will be able to download the pieces of music, the different, like the Old Rugged Cross and all of the music that she has offered. I have in there in JPEGs. Now, I understand that some of you may not be able or not have the knowledge or don't know how to download or to print. But for those of you that do, and I'm hoping the majority of you do know how to, you know, pull a JPEG off and put it into your photo program and print from your computer. The way that she and I are asking you to print them is to fit your music. When you go to print, you hit your print, and then you want to fit your music to the page. You want to choose a letter size print. When you go to print, you want to choose 8.5 by 11, and then you want to choose fit to size. Don't do it 8 by 10 or anything like that because it'll scrunch it. It'll make it look weird. So if you just choose fit to whatever size paper you choose to print, then that whatever I have in there should fit on your paper. If you have a problem with doing that, and only if you have a problem, Stacey will be glad to email you the JPEG. But y'all, it would be much easier for her because she's going to be creating all the decals. And for me and for y'all, if you can just go into the blog, I drag and drop things out of my blog onto my desktop, and then I put my picture in my photos program and I print from there. That's how I do it. So, but you should be able to right click on it and you should be able to pull it off of there or drag and drop it to your desktop in some way. So hopefully you'll be able to figure out how to do that. As I said, if not, Stacey will send you the JPEG, but you're still going to have to download it out of your email. So hopefully those of you who are not real tech savvy will have somebody there who can help you look at my blog and pull it off of the blog, because that would be the best thing. Because Stacey's going to be doing so much, I hate for her to, you know, have to take the extra step to find the JPEG and send that to and attach that. So please, I encourage you to go to the blog and pull it off that way. That was the only way that I could think of, except for those of you in my Facebook group. I could put up pictures of my Facebook group. The Facebook group will Facebook will resize pictures. So I'm not sure they'd be as clear as they would if you just go to my blog and do it that way. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to say, I think. I think that's everything. If not, I'll put it in the description box to clarify further. But for now, I'm going to hush because I've already talked 5 minutes and I don't want this video to be any longer, so I'm going to go into my final words. And I'm going to say thank you so much for stopping in here. Thank you for taking the time to take a peek at what Stacey is offering and to enjoy a bit of my extended family there. She's my heart. I'm telling you, she's my cousin, but she's like my sister. We are both only children, so we both imagine that this is what it's like to have a sister, you know? So, but anyway, I hope all is well with everyone. And for those of you who might be struggling or suffering with a catastrophic illness or chronic pain, I hope that you have someone there with you, taking care of you, helping you get through each day, making the very, very best out of each day. I hope there's nothing weighing on your minds or your hearts, pulling your attention away from where you want it to be or from where it should be. I love y'all to bits, to bits, to bits, hugs all around, and I keep you in my thoughts and my prayers every single day. And with all that said, I'll just say, until next time, y'all take good care. Bye-bye.